These are waffle donut ice cream sandwiches. This is an Octane coffee sweet cream. This is a chocolate bitters coconut cream with chocolate and pineapple. It tastes like coffee and deep dish pizza. I'm Mark Creasy, you're watching Superchomp. Atlanta isn't want for delicious things. We have excellent donuts, ice cream, coffee, and chocolate. Today we're going to put them all together. We're using a yeast donut from the Sublime Donuts cookbook that's pressed in a waffle iron just before it's fried. Super regular coffee from Octane Westside. And we're using a sweet cream ice cream recipe from Jeni's Splendid Ice Creams. And as a dairy-free option, we're doing a coconut milk chocolate bitters with chocolate pineapple on top. We're using chocolate from Chocolatl in Krog Street Market. For the donuts, weigh the dry ingredients, set them aside, except for the yeast. Then weigh your wet ingredients, put the dry on top of the wet, then add the yeast. We're going to start off with the paddle attachment and mix for 1 minute until it's a homogeneous mixture. Do this at a slow speed. After that, we're going to switch to the hook attachment and go for 10 to 12 minutes. You really want to see this gluten build up. So when it's finished, pull it off the hook, grab a little bit and spread it between your fingers. This is the window test. If it gets kind of clear in the middle but it doesn't break, you have had proper gluten development and you're good to go. Pull it out of the mixer, flour it up, and let it rest for 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, you want to roll it out to 3/4 of an inch thick, and then let it rest for another 5 minutes. So after 5 minutes, you can cut them in shapes. I bought a pack of 3 circular biscuit cutters for like $1, and I just used the middle one. Here's where things get a little wacky. We're going to use your dishwasher, so make sure it's clean. Turn your dishwasher on with nothing in it, and let it go until it gets to the hot water cycle. At the hot water cycle, cut the whole thing off. You don't want the water to drain, but before the steam totally escapes, put your donuts in there and close the door. So you're going to check it every 5 minutes, then we're going to poke it every 5 minutes. And when that poke doesn't bounce back, they've fully proofed and they can come out. I'm using peanut oil, and I'm using the stuff that doesn't have saturated fats. So pour this into a huge pot and heat it over medium. I'm checking this with both a candy thermometer and an infrared thermometer from Amazon. You're trying to get it around 375, and don't go over that. At this point, you take a waffle iron and throw some flour in there. Take one of your proofed donuts and crush it in there for 10 seconds. After 10 seconds, you can toss it in the oil. When it gets golden, which should be 20 to 25 seconds, flip it. As soon as that one's golden, it's ready to come out. I put mine on a rack over a paper towel and let them cool. For the ice cream, I find this makes 1.5 quarts, so if you use 1/2 quart for your pucks, you have 1 quart left over. Take 2 tablespoons of the milk and mix it in with the cornstarch to make a slurry. That way when you finally put it in, you're not going to have chunks in your ice cream. Now we need to make the ice bath, because we want the water to be nice and cold when that cream makes its way in there. You can use any 8 ounces of brewed coffee. I like to make pour over. Whisk the cream cheese, the salt, and the coffee in a medium bowl. Whisk it thoroughly until all of the chunks are gone. Next we're going to combine the rest of the milk, the cream, sugar, cornstarch, and bring it to a boil. Take it off the heat and add your cornstarch slurry. Put it back on the heat and whisk it for about 1.5 minutes until it gets thicker. Next you want to kill the heat and add back in your cream cheese salt coffee mixture and whisk it all up. Now we can pour it into a 1-gallon Ziploc and submerge it in the ice bath. Once it's chilled, get your ice cream canister ready, whether it's a KitchenAid or a standalone. Let it spin, pour the mixture in, and let it go for about 20 minutes. So next we're going to pour this into a Pyrex pan. Then we're going to cover it with saran wrap and then freeze it. Once it firms up, you'll find that this will help it from crystallizing. I used melted ice cream on my cereal instead of milk, and now I desperately need to exercise. So just like before, we're going to take some of the coconut milk and stir it up with the xanthan gum, which is acting like a starch here, to make a slurry so we can pour it back in. So we want to bring all of our ingredients to a boil. Take it off, add our mixture, put it back on the heat, let it thicken for a minute. Just like with the other ice cream, we're going to put this into an ice bath, pour it into an ice cream mixer, pour it into a pan, cover it in saran wrap, freeze it. So now in kind of a double boiler setup, we're going to melt the Chocolatl chocolate and some Mass Brothers Stumptown coffee chocolate, and then we're going to stir pineapple in, and then pour the whole slurm onto a cooling rack and toss it in the freezer. So once it's firmed up, you can bring it out, toss it on a cutting board, chop it up. We're going to chop it into little bits. We're going to use this on half the waffle donut sandwiches and then press an ice cream puck into it. The goal of Superchomp is to have great times by sharing swell treats.